Welcome to the Qualitative Analysis tutorial. In this tutorial, I will show you how the EBSCO UX team analyzes qualitative data, which might help you and your team analyze your own qualitative data. But first, what is the purpose of qualitative research? Qualitative research focuses on gaining an in-depth understanding of a topic. It is exploratory or investigative in nature. The outcome of a qualitative study is usually in-depth descriptions rather than numbers, as you'd have in a quantitative study. However, even with qualitative studies, you can have numbers as well accompanying your in-depth descriptions, and I'll show you examples of these. So the findings from a qualitative study are not usually conclusive, and they can't automatically be used to make generalizations. So you typically find qualitative studies with smaller sample sizes of about 6 to 15 participants. And the purpose really is to develop a very in-depth understanding rather than to come up with generalizable findings. And so, why is it important to analyze qualitative data using software? The main reason why it's helpful to use software is because of objectivity. And so, typically, if you don't analyze your data rigorously with, say, a software such as Deduce or NVivo, and instead rely on just taking notes about things that strike you as being important or things that are the key takeaways, the problem with that is you introduce some subjectivity or bias, because what you consider to be important or key might be different from what your colleague might consider to be important, and it is mainly influenced by your own preconceived ideas. And so the advantage of really taking good notes during an interview and then analyzing rigorously is that you allow the findings to emerge from the data rather than to be heavily influenced by the researcher. The second reason is efficiency. Sometimes you have a lot of data which would be unwieldy to analyze using Excel or Microsoft Word. And so a software such as Deduce provides an easy way to organize your data in a way that you can interpret it and come up with some findings. Software also facilitates collaboration in data analysis, and Deduce is really good software for collaboration. And again, I'll show you how to do that. And the last advantage is that with software, you kind of get the best of both worlds. You can do both quantitative analysis of your qualitative data, and you can also have the rich, in-depth details that you need to explain those numbers. And the software makes it very easy for you to do both, which is great. Oh, and one last advantage too is it can be very helpful when analyzing open-ended responses in a survey. And so sometimes in a survey, you ask participants an open-ended question, and you can download or extract those responses and just plop them into a software like Deduce and systematically analyze those in a very easy and quick way. I should say that the first few times you analyze data with a software, it will take time and you'll start to doubt that it's an efficient method. But trust me, if you do it a few times, you start to get a hang of it, and it really, you'll find that it's much more efficient than, say, Excel. Okay, so this tutorial is about Deduce, and so without further ado, let me jump here and show you how to use Deduce to analyze your data. First, I should say Deduce is just an affordable qualitative analysis software. It costs about $15 a month, but you get 30 days free trial. So after watching this video, I really encourage you to just try it out, especially if you already have interview data. And that way you can make the best use of your 30 free days, and you can make an informed judgment about whether or not this tool is right for you. Okay, so and before you actually analyze your data, one big question that people ask, especially if they're not researchers, perhaps they're product managers or in other roles within a company, and they're doing this for the first time, they ask what forms of notes they should be taking during interviews. So my recommendation, and really our team's recommendation, is to take verbatim notes when you're conducting your interviews. And so this is an example of notes from the visual search project. And as you can see, we put in the name of the respondent, and you can use pseudonyms if you'd like to protect the identity of the respondents. So we have the names, we have the questions we asked and their responses, and we have that throughout. And you can see this is a 22-page document. Our notes are very detailed, and that's because again they are verbatim, but we of course eliminate the arms and ums and digressions and really focus on the substantial content, but we try our best to make it as verbatim as possible. And again, this is just to ensure that we are being objective, that we are not communicating findings that are greatly influenced by what we thought was important, but rather what came out of the interviews. I really can't emphasize that enough. And so the question to what forms of data you should be collecting is pretty much verbatim notes, and this is an example. Okay, so let's go to deduce. Let me just log in. Okay, so this is deduce, and when you first open it up, you will see a demo project which comes preloaded into deduce, and that's just to give you a chance to perhaps play around with real data and try out different things without messing up your own data. So it's great for practice. So to create a new project when you're starting out, you'll go to projects up here, and you can either create a project by clicking this or this plus button up here, and I will just say deduce tutorial, submit. And now I've created a new project. As you can see, the project is empty at the moment because I don't have any data in here. But like I said, software helps you to collaborate with others in the analysis process. And so if you were working with a colleague to analyze your data and you said, hey, I will analyze Adrian, Jill, and Amy's transcripts. Please analyze Michelle's, Charissa's, and Katie's, and you split it up that way. And so you'd want to have a joint project, but you don't have to. You can have an individual project with no shared users, or you can have a collaborative project. To have a collaborative one, you'd go up here to security, and then you see here add user, and then you want to select whether you're going to give them full access or partial. At the moment, I think it's just set for full access. So you just click that and say use selected group and enter the email of the person you want to invite, whether that's Alisa Golden at EBSCO.com. Well, I do know that Arthur has an account, so submit. And it tells you the user was found. So that means that it was able to do that. I'll just cancel this because I don't want to send Arthur this project. But that's how you'd go about adding users to the project. Okay. So let's go back to our project, Deduce tutorial. So to bring in our transcript or our interview notes, we'll go here to media, and then this plus button allows you to import your text, and you can import PDFs and other forms of text, but in my case it was Microsoft Word, and so I'll just do that and select the document I want to bring in and press OK, and you see now I have it here. Great. And so if this was a joint project and my colleague and teammate Alisa was on this as well, and we had split this work, they would see exactly what I'm seeing right now, and they can code. You do not have to kind of say, okay, I'll code from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then you code from this time. There's really no problem with conflicts. You can both be working on this at the same time. But actually, to be honest, I haven't collaborated on a project within Deduce, so I can't quite comment on how well that works. I typically just analyze the data myself, and my teammates analyze data from their own projects themselves as well. But you can give it a try and see how you like it. Okay, so that's how you create a project and how you bring in your data into Deduce. So in the next video, I will show you how to go about analyzing the data, which is the really exciting part. Okay.